give us your feedback in the 4 focus areas. And that survey will be open until the end of the listening tour, so that'll be September 9th. So you can log into that survey and share everything that you didn't get to share. All right, so thank you. Can everyone still hear me? So I want to turn it over to Councilmember O'Malley to do the official welcome of our mayor to Sand Creek High School District 6 Cafe.
Before I introduce the Honorable Mayor, Yemi Mobolade, I also want to point out one of our outstanding citizens here. Her name's Judy Boston. She's 86 years old, but she's here. Why aren't they? So thank you so much for Everybody wants to listen to your concerns. He wants to hear your thoughts and also tell them what you think the city needs and tell them what you think it's going to make our city a better place. And with that, I want to hand over to the mayor and you.
Good evening. It's Friday evening and you guys are here. Wow, that says a lot about you. First of all, thank you for being here on a Friday evening. I know there's 100 things you can do this evening, but you're here because you care about your community, and that means a lot to me. First of all, shout out to my colleague, Councilmember Michael Malley. He's an incredible advocate for your district. He's an incredible support to me, and I'm really excited about our city leadership because it's just great partnership that we are displaying as we think about the future growth of our city. Our city's changing, there are a lot of needs, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this is not just because it's delivering on my campaign promises. And by the way, the biggest compliment I got in the last 2 weeks from people is saying, you're actually doing what you said you were going to do. And I didn't know that was an option, not to do what you said you were going to do. So this is one of my promises, one of my deliverables. I really meant it when I said I want to hear from you. And here's why. We've kicked off our strategic planning process, and a good leader listens to his people before he makes plans. And so before we go too far in that process, it's really important for me to hear your needs and for you to voice your concerns and for your voice and your ideas to help shape the future of your neighborhood and to help shape the future of your city. Now, I don't want to stand up here and claim that we can deliver on everything, but I know that we will be able to deliver on some things. But before we go too far again, it's important for me to hear from you. So thank you for making time tonight. There are a number of leaders in the House. I thank each and every one of you, D49, leadership assistant principal, and all the leadership, district superintendent, Peter, so many people that have made time to be here tonight. Thank you so much. Courtney, my team member, and all the team members in the House, and Kono as well in the House. So I guess we are moving to the cafe spotlight. This is where I get to now hear from you, and believe me, I'll be taking some notes as well. So, Courtney, back to you.
Yes, so we've gotten to that time where we are going to hear from you. So how that's going to work is I'm going to come down and just make my way around to every table. I'm thinking I would start at the first table, time it out, and then move on as we go around. So
you're all right.
Make sure that you have your presenter ready and you've secured your ideas because you have a little bit more time. And this is where the mayor does his wonderful best. He's a great listener and he's good at recalling the themes. So it's your time to shine.
Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it. So some of the things that we talked about, first on the topic of homelessness, we kind of came to the consensus that our homeless population is growing and it is sprawling. I shared an anecdote with my table that I've lived here my whole life, and I remember in my head homelessness was something that was centrally downtown, something that was like kind of taking over Acacia Park, something that was back to where the issues were. But now we see homeless being pushed all the way up north, even towards North Academy, Dublin, and it just seems to be spreading all across the city. So that is a concern that we have. Another thing that we talked about is the continued development of our police force. I believe there is a consensus that we are on board with more police training, and we would like to see those police be really involved with the community. If that's just talking to citizens on the street, if that's just kind of, patrolling, but just also living a normal life, heading to the grocery store. I'm a teacher myself, and it's been really awesome seeing Deputy Murphy down at Falcon Middle School. She's been forming really awesome relationships with the kids. Having a school resource officer is something that can make people uncomfortable because it's a great reminder of the society we're living in. But when that officer is someone who is sweet and kind and great with kids, it makes a difference. And that goes with any policeman who is on the street or any policewoman who's interacting with the community. We also talk about safety in school. Obviously, when that topic kind of led to its natural place. And one thing that I was shocked by was we just started our school year here at Day 49. And one of the things that shocked me was when I was talking about emergency situations and lockdown drills, they were kind of confused about what lockdown drills were all about. And then I said, all these school shootings. And they're like, school shootings? And they were a little shocked. And I felt for, a good majority of those kids, I was their first exposure to that kind of situation. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I don't know if I'm comfortable being the first exposure to those kids about Okay, so to kind of move things along. We also really like the COS Connect app for infrastructure. It has been a great tool to upload photos and report debris and things that need to be fixed in our city. We would like to see overall more busing. We also like what's going on with Prop 2, but we as a table believe it needs to be more visible. So we'd like to see some more transparency on the exact ways that Prop 2C is affecting our city. We also believe that our city is very car-centric regarding infrastructure. We talked about Colorado's e-bike rebate program, and we would like to see Colorado Springs take better advantage of that e-bike program and give people who invest in that a real good opportunity to explore our city on bike, as well as we mentioned the rail and better just walkability in our city. We're one of the most active cities in the country, and we like to walk places. Finally, we talked about housing prices. We would love to see more affordable housing, and the more you build, the cheaper that housing gets. All right, thank you. I'm sorry if I ran too long.
Thank you. Great job, Table 10. And just a reminder, every table has 3 minutes, and I'll start the time. Move on to Table 9.
I had the wonderful opportunity to work with your kids and the youth here, inspiring leaders, and they asked to have an opportunity, a handful of them, to present some of their thoughts and ideas. So we're going to go around as quick as we can and hit on the things that they're passionate about, okay?
So one of the things that was a major issue for our entire table that we wanted to focus on was making sure that there's access for everybody's resources to go to and make sure there's not just this up here and this down here, if I need to go to a grocery store but I live all the way down here, why do I have to spend a lot of money on gas to go all the way over here, and it could just be
Another thing that we also talked about was homelessness, how homelessness is increasing.
Around the areas that homelessness is common, but I also brought up
Thank you very much. We go over to table. Who's presented?
We talked about safety issues. For example, like the other tables presented homelessness. Some of the crosswalks around school zones are not really safe. You don't have crossing guards. A lot of kids walk without parents. A lot of stuff can happen. We also talked about more police presence in certain areas. That's not just in this district, but in other districts as well. Relates to homelessness. One of our members here on the table talked about Airbnbs, that there's not huge regulations. Some of them they are legal, others they find loopholes on how not to do things the proper way. Another thing we talked about was more opportunities for underprivileged families, like free events, activities for all ages, sport events, or for example, I bring this up all the time. The youth center is very involved in the community. They do a lot for underprivileged families. But what about the other districts and the other gyms or community centers, for example? What can we do to make it have access for all kids, that they can do sports or join activities across all neighborhoods in the community? Better community communication, not just in this neighborhood, but combined for all neighborhoods, because one district doesn't know what's going on with the other one, so we could better that, we could all come together. And I don't know what's going on with the district, but there's a lot happening. One person from a different district doesn't know what's happening. Another thing we talked about was a website for all community events, so it can reach all neighbors. For example, the Olympic Center and the museum has a lot of events, but a lot of people don't know. So how can we reach them and how can we involve them in opportunities and wonderful events that they put out for everybody?
I'm going to move on to table 7. Okay.
Hi everyone, it's my table.
We can't hear you.
We tend to housing and planning the intersection between. So the first point, I came up that relative to our peers in Colorado, it seems as though Colorado Springs, the city, is good generally at the speed and accessibility of permitting for building new units, and the city would want to keep that up. There's also this concern, especially in the Powers marching in Colorado, that this area, I remember 20 years ago that Powers, maybe even less than that, was like a little 2-lane road. It's huge now. We have a lot of stuff. It's possible that development could be outplacing planning in a meaningful way. By that we mean maybe there's congestion in areas that we don't have the correct road or transportation infrastructure for. Or maybe police just can be spread too thin and want the coverage that we'd like to see. And finally, there is this fundamental tension. I definitely agree with the young man at the first table that I would love, my bias would be to see a lot more housing very quickly, and I think excluded area zoning probably on net is generally poor. But we do have to, that's definitely my bias, and I think that we need to take the land use externalities seriously, maybe with respect to how infrastructure costs in this area might proceed in the future. So for example, as we go out east, we see all this huge development, and I would like for the city to take seriously maybe plan for long-term infrastructure spending. I'm worried that maybe our land value per acre might not be high enough to support the huge amount of infrastructure we built out. But we also need to respect that if someone wants to have a large plot of land with a large home, they should be able to do that too. It's okay.
We have another mic, so hopefully that works a little bit better.
I'm going to move on to table 5.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out today, Mary Yemi. Yeah, we talked about a lot of similar issues that everyone else did. As far as public safety goes, we feel that the police department is kind of stuck with the budget they were given, so they're underfunded. If they were given more funding, they would be able to provide more services and police officers. We also believe, based on the funding that they get, they don't get enough credit for what they actually do in our community, so we wanted to make a point of that. Infrastructure, we feel there's been a bias towards giving more support to the developers and not to what's best for our citizens in the city of Colorado Springs. We feel we're growing faster than we can keep up. As far as homelessness goes, we feel there's a huge issue with panhandlers, campers, in the fields and the ditches behind the stores. We'd like to see more law enforcement in that area. We're also concerned about the increasing drug issue, not only across the country, but locally. Economic conditions, we don't believe we're attracting enough businesses to provide a local income to our citizens. We also feel that our city needs to give more value to the retirement community. You see a lot of apartment buildings going up for 55 plus. We feel that, when someone's worked their whole life or served in the military, they deserve more than an apartment, they deserve a nice home. We'd also like to see, we want to lift up the communities in Colorado Springs that are underserved. We know that, northern Colorado Springs is in a better condition than maybe the southwestern part of the city. We'd like to, what can we do to help those underserved communities so they don't fall farther behind and we're more of a community. We also talked about how we can use the faith community in a more productive way and see how we can expand the division between city and faith. We believe you've come in just at the right time, Mayor Yemi, to help unite the city. We believe there's 3 areas where this city is divided. That is race, politics, and economic conditions. We'd like to see a city for everyone with clear transparency and communication between the city government and our citizens. And last of all, I think we really like this format rather than a regular town hall format. So thank you again for coming out.
All right. So our major points today concern public safety and sustainability. Our first point is something I believe to be unique to our table, but something that should still have light to us. This point is street racing in neighborhoods. And though I've never heard of this myself, I do believe that it is a problem that should be considered. Our second point is more popular in the public eye, concerns police. We came to consensus that we'd all feel safer if we had a greater police presence in our neighborhoods. However, we also said that this wouldn't be the case if said police officers didn't have the correct amount of DEI training. I have a friend that recently posted about feeling unsafe around police, and that's absolutely not okay. I feel that if our police officers were more trained in diversity and equity, we could all feel safer in our neighborhoods. Our third and final point concerns sustainability for homeless people beyond feeding them. What can we do to keep them safe and healthy for the rest of their lives rather than a day or two? We talked about mental health, and I believe that mental health facilities, if those could be made sustainable, would be very important to helping out our homeless problem that we have in the city. Thank you.
Make my way over. Mr. Mayor, thank you for putting this on. A lot of things have already been mentioned. We talked, everyone I think has spoken about homelessness. You know, as far as public safety goes, the conversation that you and I had about the lack of police, obviously you're looking to increase the number of graduations from the police academy to maybe 2 or 3 a year. I think that would be great, but I think we would all agree that along with that, proper training as well as maybe more of a deeper psychological review of these folks, because it is a high-stress job, and we want to make sure that we have people that can remain cool under pressure. We talked a lot about the response times that people are seeing when they contact either non-emergency or 911, where there are people on hold. And so, you know, what can be done there is it just increasing the number of police, or you also need an increased number of police that are on hand at those call centers to receive those calls. Now, let's see, STAR program. So Jonathan mentioned that in Denver, they have a program called STAR program, right? I thought maybe it would be a good idea to look at what that program looks like and how it works in Denver, to see about adapting a part of it or all of it to use down here. All right, infrastructure. So really excited about what we're seeing with the fiber optics and what's going on with the collaboration between the city and the private companies as far as building out the fiber optic here in Colorado Springs. That puts us on track to be one of the fastest cities to get to that point in the country. But we really would love a list, provide a list, a transparent list of projects and their costs to the public. Public transportation has already been mentioned, but can't mention it enough, especially as the developers seem to be building outward. We would probably like to see maybe that they pay a fee to help assist in creating more public transportation to those areas as they build out from the center of town. Damon brought that up. We probably should charge him. He said charge him mightily too, by the way. All right, the Olympic Museum, we do think was a great addition, but it is highly underutilized. And there was a considerable amount of money that went into building it. We would like to see the availability in the building for more people to go to the Olympic Museum. We believe it's a little pricey right now. And then there's a slew of vacant buildings. That was 3 minutes already? Give me 20. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for your support.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to hear speak today. So I'm a local member of our financial aid board here in Director Emergency Management. So we talked about public safety. We perceived a rise in crime, which is cars being broken into, slow response time, increased traffic accidents, traffic deaths here. A great concern, a personal issue, is that Colorado Springs Police Department needs to participate in active shooter training and emergency exercises with school districts. They were sued about 6 or 7 years ago and since have refused to do so, creating a dangerous situation. I know another law enforcement agency that doesn't participate in active shooter exercises in schools. We also talked about other issues with the need for greater community policing to go after both the big and small things to create a safer environment. We talked about the need for better building planning for infrastructure, for roads, for consideration for evacuation, the better plan for traffic, as well as the need for greater collaboration between the city and county in this area. We talked about how moving forward there needs to be more input from residents in regards to infrastructure, the need for more water upgrades, that as roads continue to experience significant amounts of potholes and cracks, that there continue to be wheelchair access ADA issues, and most importantly overall, that there needs to be better communication and transparency from the city on these issues. Thank you.
So, table one, you ready?
Good evening, and again, thanks for holding this forum. So we kept coming back to a lot of things. One was stop approving more development before roads, schools, and public safety were in place. As the councilman mentioned in the beginning, yeah, we're getting March up earlier than we might have, but it's 10 years too late. It should have been built before these 5,000 homes over here, right? Talking about 2C, we agreed need to fix roads, not curbs. You mentioned curbs in your 100-day plan. Focus on the roads. That's what we passed that law. Not exactly a city government thing per se, but would certainly like the city to encourage PPLD to build a library in this area. You know, Peter said March Shuffle, whatever. We need a good east-west travel corridor. There simply aren't any, and every time we've had the opportunity to make it better as a city, we haven't done our best. We also talked about the value of, kind of spreading the wealth east-west spending and power that, like was mentioned, there's not a lot of paved bike trails in this part of the city, but there's a million of them downtown and in that part of the city. And finally, as far as the homelessness, well, laws in general, but homelessness in particular, enforce the current laws to continue to keep this area safe, especially as the city moves eastward. Thank you.
All right, thanks Yemi and Mike. I thought I saw Sally around here somewhere a minute ago. There she is. Hey Sally. Great to see everybody. I'm James Doherty. I live here in the district as well. It's great to see everyone, neighbors and all. We talked about similar things, but I'll go through each of those 4 areas, some of the good things that we noticed, and also some of the things that we would like you to prioritize. So start with infrastructure. Oh, and by the way, Yemi, you're starting from a place of strength. So let me just say, like all the stuff we're talking about here, this is, you just get to build on something that's already pretty awesome. So just don't mess it up, okay? John did a good job. I know you're going to do fine, seriously. But we're coming from a place of strength here, so just know that. Okay, so infrastructure, utilities, we never have to think about them. They're always on, they always work, so thank you for keeping them on all the time. One of the things that we would like you to prioritize is crosswalks, especially along Pony Tracks Drive and around the schools in particular. And we know you're going to be installing some of the new school zones, so we appreciate that as well. Repairing roads, we always talk about that. I've lived here my whole life. There's always potholes, but if you just keep that at the forefront, just keep doing that well, and you'll keep us happy. And then there's just some stuff like cracks in the roads. There's not just potholes, but like big cracks that develop. Some of these communities out here are, 30 or 40 years old now, especially when Sky Sox was built, the stadium. So can you take a look at some of those cracks for us? That'd be great. Okay, let's go to safety. We really appreciate that we can, with safety, let me just double check some things. So the good stuff, we're really thankful that we can always ask for things like through the Go COS app. There's always somebody to respond to things, whether it's like a pothole or whether it's something that's going on. But it's not always the answer we want, but at least we can put it into the app and somebody responds. Okay, so that maybe is for infrastructure too. Okay, filling vacancies. It sounds like, if I'm correct, there's like 100-something vacancies on the police department right now. I think that's the number, something like that. So we definitely want to fill those vacancies. So we want to help you with that. Whatever we can do, whether it's like start a Hug a Cop Day, which we'd all love to come hug you guys. We won't touch your hands. Or just let's build up the brand of Colorado Springs that we are a police-friendly place. And whether that's social media, on the news, interviews with these wonderful gentlemen here that are protecting us, just like each week, something coming out on TikTok about like the police here, and making sure that we know that we love the police. Okay, so Hug a Cop Day, whatever it is. And then there's a problem with abandoned cars. We can't really seem to get people to come out and look at abandoned cars. Doesn't look like code enforcement's doing a great job with that right now. Okay, other services. We please prioritize senior center on this side of town. There isn't one anywhere near. Libraries, again, is a big thing. Can you help the library district? Economic development, thank you. Space Command, we love you. Glad for supporting our military. Please invest in some trade schools around town. That's not just for the stuff that Pikes Peak Community College is already doing. And affordability for our military members to have houses. We really, really, really need some help with that. All right. Last but not least, please lean on the church to do a lot of this. This is not all the city's job. So some of these things we've talked about is not really the city's job to do, especially in the social areas and charity areas. So please lean on the church. You started, COS, I love you. Stu Davis is doing a great job over there now, but lean on the church. We want to help. So tell us how we can help. Bring us to the table. And yeah, just keep doing stuff on TikTok. You'll get more students. All right.
Thank you. You guys were phenomenal. And don't think that any of the thoughts that you didn't get to share will not be taken into consideration. I hope you wrote them down. And so at the end of tonight, I'll be collecting all of the nice artwork that you gave me and all of the easels that you wrote on and other Post-it papers. And I'm going to be collecting it and providing feedback on tonight. So thank you very, very, very much. Now for the man of the hour to talk and share about what he heard you say, his takeaway. And so I'm going to turn things over to Mayor Yemi.
It's all good. All right. That was rich. That was powerful. Thank you all. Can I see the hands of all the spokespeople? All the spokespeople, thank you. Whether you volunteered or you voluntoed, I know it's yes, I really appreciate you guys. Excellent summary. And the Sand Creek students, I'm assuming that's a table. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you for being here. Yeah. You guys are our future. Somebody said unity is at the, I don't know which table, the top priority. And so I give you that charge too, to lead us and lead your generation and lead our country in the way of getting. I will try not to take up much time, but once again, I can't thank you enough for your feedback. This is really good. One of the few things I'm struck by is the maturity of this group. One, I love hearing the thank yous. That says a lot about you. I love hearing the kudos, especially to our law enforcement officers. We are a pro-police city, and I fully intend to keep it that way and continue that importance. I heard things such as, let's care about other districts. Honestly, I didn't expect to hear that. Let's care about other parts of our city. Let's extend that economic prosperity. It just says a lot about who you guys are, that you care for your neighborhood, you're thinking about the city as a whole. So just to give you a quick summary, a lot of good content, but in terms of what rise to the top three, public safety, whether it's connected to schools, police resource officers, school zones. I heard the need for more officers. Yes, yes, yes. Improve our response time. Yes, yes. That's super important to me. We are short about 80 officers. I believe and I'm confident that we can take care of that in the next couple of years. It's one of the top priorities. I heard that during the campaign. I'm also hearing that as mayor, and I'm hearing that right now from you all. It is my responsibility. It's the city's responsibility to help keep our community safe. Nobody else has that responsibility but the city. And so please know that I take that very seriously. Yeah, more funding, training, all those things are really important. It's why I'm really pushing our police training academy that helps make all those things possible. It will help improve our response time. It will help us ensure that we are not only recruiting more officers, but the ability to retain them. Number two, I heard a lot around homelessness. As our city grows, we have to care for our homeless community, but it's also a safety issue for many of our residents. I'm a parent of 3 young kids, 2 of them are in school, and I have the same concerns that you do as well. So know that we are trying to strike that balance between compassion and safety as well. And when it comes to homelessness, increasing street outreach, but also mental health. One of you mentioned mental health. That is part of the core issues that we need to lead and step into that reality. And number 3, and last but not the least, big one, infrastructure. As our city grows, do we have the infrastructure to keep up with our growth? I heard a little bit about development and evacuation and so many growth concerns and potholes and cracks. And I'm also thinking about bridges. So 2C is working. Next year, I'll be coming to you asking to extend 2C because we need that. We need those funds to ensure that we are able to keep up with the growth of our city. Connect COS, if it's not ready, check it out. It has some of the more long-term planning to keep up with our transportation needs. We are a car-dependent city, but we know that as our city grows, that's not always going to be the case. So we need more transportation options. And maybe just a good one to add, maybe number 4, is housing and affordability. I met this morning with General Clark at the Air Force Academy and his whole command staff. It was a great meeting. And I asked them, how can we support you? What do you need? And they began to make their rounds and tell me how the city of Colorado Springs can support our military. One of the top issues, Sally can tell you, was housing. Housing. It's getting harder and harder for our military to live in this city. So I ask you to join me in this effort as we balance our infrastructure needs with the need for more housing. I think we can have both. So thank you again for your feedback. This feedback is really important, and it will make its way into our long-range planning. And I'm so proud of Courtney's leadership as she's helping us with our city strategic plan for the next 4 years. And Thomas, I want to call you out too. You've done a lot of work here, and thank you so much. Courtney, back to you.
Thank you. I want to give Kono an opportunity to talk a little bit about this conversation not ending, because you all have a lot to say, and you have a lot to do as well, because you're passionate about the issues that rose, and to give you a little bit more information about how you can energize and channel those interests and passion, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Thanks, Courtney. My name is Sarah Ross, Executive Director for Kono, where we build networks of neighborhoods. And first, I just want to pause and say, this is really cool. We also got invited to this table to work with the mayor's team and the task force, and so we're so excited. I don't think this has ever happened. I got that question at my table. Have you ever seen this kind of, public engagement and listening tour with citizens? No, I haven't. I've only been here 12 years, but still, no, I haven't. So we are so excited. Again, our role is to keep this conversation going. We want you to love your neighborhood, and a lot of times when you get really passionate about issues, sometimes it's because there's a missing ingredient for why we don't love where we live. And like we heard this gentleman say, not all of these issues are solved by the city. So we want to help connect you to the city, but also connect you to each other, build the skills so we can solve these problems together as a community, and build relationships. I know my city council person, I know their cell phone number. It's not because I'm the executive director of Kono, it's because I do work in my neighborhood and I've gotten to know her over time. So we want to connect with you, build leaders out of you, and one really great way to start doing that, we have a neighborhood university program. Starts in September, it's free. Weeknights on Tuesdays, we provide dinner, so I'm just selfish plug there. We have a table out front. You can register your neighborhood as well, or register your house on our directory. So when there are public meetings or a development is happening, we can notify you of that as well. We have a great partnership with the city, so we're trying to be that liaison between neighborhood and city. So let us help you do that, connect to each other, build really wonderful places to live, have a block party, but also solve complex issues at the neighborhood level. So thanks again, we're so thrilled to be part of this team.
I also wanted to give the community affairs team an opportunity to speak a little bit. I don't know if Sally wants to speak or Thomas wants to say a few
words, or even Danielle, just about the work that they're doing, connecting voices in the community, I will come down to Thomas and let him say a few words.
I just really want to take about 30 minutes or so to kind of unpack. No, Sally Clark here and Danielle in the back and myself, we're part of a new office that the mayor's created called the Office of Community Affairs. And that's because we're trying to have an administration for you that is transparent and accessible and proactive. And I hope you're seeing tonight as an example of what that can look like. So thank you for being here with us tonight, and I'll give the rest of my time back.
Wow, a lot of people were giving back time tonight, so thank you. So I just want to recognize all of you, because this was a big thing that you did for a few hours on a Friday night, and it didn't rain, and you weren't outside, you were inside with us, so thank you for doing that. And you guys are setting the example for the next tours that we're going to do. They have a high bar to set right now, because this was phenomenal, and this process needed your participation and engagement and belief, and you did that, so we thank you so very much for that. I also want to talk a little bit about Sand Creek. So happy to be back at this school and have the students participate, but also they welcomed us with open arms here, providing us whatever we needed to support the process for tonight. So thank you, and to continue our support for them, we're going to make sure that we're going to throw away our trash and get out of here on time. So, to continue to be engaged with what's happening with the city, with the strategic plan, your contact for the strategic plan will be me. I've left my card on the table, but also there is an opportunity for you to access the city website to see where we are with the process, okay? And so I want to keep you engaged. I want to hear your questions. The survey gives you an opportunity to share anything you may have forgotten tonight. And so you can take that again, I think I said it a little bit earlier, you can take it again through the duration of the tour. But also, we're going to connect with you. For those of you who registered or checked in when you came in and you gave your email address, you'll be hearing from us within the first 48 hours, thanking you for coming and then reminding how we're going to keep in touch with you so that you know where we're at with the strategic plan and how your information, or how the information that you shared with us is going to be used for the development of our goals and priorities and actionable measures between 2025 and 2029. I also want to say thank you to all my volunteers that came from the city government team. If you guys could please clap it out for them, I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All the facilitators, many of them are very passionate about doing this work, so I thank you for signing up with me, and you'll be with me for the next couple of tours, so I appreciate that. Also, I want to recognize Community Affairs team, because together we were able to make this happen, and we're going to replicate it again. And as Sarah alluded to, the Kono table is outside. I encourage you to go look at the information and encourage your neighbors to get involved and to help their voices be heard as well. Last bit of information on the strategic plan, go to our website, coloradosprings.gov/strategic plan. On the listening tour, if you want to see more, hear more about listening tour, coloradosprings.gov/listening tour. And if you want to keep up with what's happening within the first 100 days of our Mayor Yemi's mayoralship, go to coloradosprings.gov/blueprint-mayor-Yemi's first 100 days. So, that's all I got from you. Thank you all for coming. I hope you respected your time. You got 7 minutes left. Please leave everything that you've written at the table. Paint the cards. And if you want to leave thoughts here, you can do that. If you want a card from me,